But before that, I think the first one is to thank the people of Nakuru for a very peaceful election, and also turning up on 9th to exercise their voting rights. And allow me therefore to go to the issues. We have noted several aspects within the results that have been returned that we think constitute grave violation of the expected voting results in any place. And I think the first one we want to note is that we have seen an unnatural pattern of how people voted. We have cases where you have a voting center with 3 or 4 streams, and the 3 streams each vote exactly the same number, so 90, 90, 90, or 150, 150, 150. And given that some of these places were divided alphabetically, it is not possible that an exact same number of people would have agreed and distributed themselves equally into the different, streams. Therefore, that points to a very unnatural voting pattern that invites for further scrutiny. Secondly, we have also noted inconsistencies in the different county seats between women rep, governor, senator, and also the president, which simply means that there are people, mathematically speaking, who voted for the president but never voted for anyone else. Others voted for president and governor and voted not for the others. And I think the worst affected is the women rep. So the question would be, what happened to that voter after voting for the presidency? No, how do they disappear in the queue before they vote for the other 2 or 3? And I think that is a very serious issue that requires serious forensic before we can be able to unveil. But from the onset, it clearly points to some fraud along that area. Thirdly, we also have had massive or rampant instances where our agents were denied access to the polling stations, and they were told their letters were not stamped, and it took so much back and forth until most of them were allowed on or after 10 a.m. in the morning. And what happened before they were allowed in, we can only imagine. Then number 4, there is the issue of the voter turnout. There is a general understanding and knowledge that the voter turnout was generally low. In fact, in many places, there was hardly any queue. And by the close of the day, we were around 50, 55 on voter turnout. But as it were, finally, when the results are tallied, it is coming to 68. So where did the other people come? Where did they come from, given that the general understanding across all our polling stations that there was very low voter turnout? So where does 68, 70% come from when there was hardly any queue? And for those who are here in 2017 compared to now, when we were doing about 80, queues were as long as maybe 100, 200 meters in some centers. But in the just concluded 9th August, there was simply no queues. But the voter turnout in the same places, we are now being told, is to the tune of 70, 68%. Again, very suspicious. Then we have instances of voter bribery and widespread violence, especially in Nakuru East, among others. And this, in a way, affected voters coming to exercise their voting right. In conclusion, we see Nakuru as one of those areas that were targeted by a very deliberate and well-orchestrated international electoral fraud that did not just start at the voting. It was something that was well thought. There were young people here who came a long time way before the election with laptops and all the other gadgets and had access to the system. And the question is, how can the IEBC, charged with the responsibility of ensuring the integrity of an election, allow all this to happen? And therefore, as a team, we are currently speaking with our legal and other technical teams, including ICT, with a view to taking the necessary actions. As it were, Wanjiku votes, and our responsibility is only to count what she has voted. We have no business manipulating what she has voted. And I think this will be the area of concern as we go to the coming days. And therefore, our conclusion is that the integrity of the process cannot be guaranteed, and therefore the outcomes likewise do not reflect what Wanjiku did. And this vote manipulation is a very serious challenge to our voting process, and I think also a serious threat even to our national security. If you allow this kind of fraudsters into the nation, then we don't know where we are going next. Allow me to end there, and once again to thank you. We have said we are consulting with our legal and other experts, so I think the rest will be determined from there. Yeah. Is that okay? But I think what you're saying in short is that the results do not reflect how people voted. After voting, there was manipulation, both electronic and otherwise, other forms of manipulation. And this is the subject of part of what we will be investigating now and in the coming days. Thank you.